On the edge of space, before time began, there was only the hubverse. Sprocketeers avenged clarity, they dismantled obscurity, they danced when the flywheel spun. Here, we bring you the stories and the journeys to becoming the HubSpot superadmin. In this episode, Islin explains how business growth is personal growth and how HubSpot customers go from chaos to calm. Welcome to the Becoming a HubSpot Superadmin podcast, powered by Sprocketeer. We're championing the HubSpot Superadmin, and with us today, we have one of those, Islin Munisteri, co-founder and CRO at Thea Strategies. Hey, Islin.
Hey, Grant. It's great to be on.
Woo!
Woo! We got our shirts.
Shirts on? Whatever we're going to be. We got to meet at Inbound, which was fun. But we got to do like the hey, we're the people hi thing. So I'm happy to now have translated all the times we've spoken to your story. Thanks for being here. Let's start with your favorite HubSpot tool and why it's your favorite HubSpot tool.
I really love the HubSpot sales suite. I would say, the deals tracking, especially when as you scale and you have a bigger, sales organization, is really key for tracking your revenue, understanding whether or not deals will close or not, and understanding just how your reps are performing. I also like the sales automation, with the sales sequences and that type of thing, and the automated call recording, and as they get better, some call coaching as well. So I really like the HubSpot sales tools.
Nice. Sounds like the the sales hub might be just encompassing all of the things you love.
Yes.
Fantastic. All right. So sales stuff, translate that. Move over now to you. Let's hear about you. Your role now, CRO. Tell us about a couple statements of the things you do right now.
The things I do right now is really helping my business partner and life partner, Lucas, with implementing, strategy for our clients. I kind of act as the account manager right now to make sure relationships move smoothly. We have documented meeting notes and action items, and making sure that we stay on top of what we say we'll do for our clients and having a process for that in place. Gotcha. I really enjoy that part. And it's, I don't know, like it's pretty cool. Like I never thought I would have more of a touchy-feely, have relationship-y role. But that's kind of how my role has turned out to be. And I also help in the sales process, in discovery and proposal process as well. So,
gotcha. Making sure all of the touch points, it sounds like, are being met, which is what you said. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we say what we're going to say we're going to do, and we actually do it.
Yeah. Okay, so here's what I want to do. Now that we know where you're at, I want to go back, know where you started the journey with HubSpot, and then we'll talk about the space between. So now that we have the now goalpost, take us back. When did you start using HubSpot, and what were you doing then?
Sure. So I guess we could go back to, 2009 when I first graduated as a petroleum engineer out of Colorado School of Mines. I worked in the oil field in Texas and Alaska for 8 years. And then we came to Colorado, and then that's really where we started using HubSpot for our clients, and realized the power that had over other competitors. And we've been scaling our agency, Thea Strategies, ever since then. And yeah, that's kind of how we've grown.
Islin, wait a second. How'd you go from oil field to Was it SaaS HubSpot? What were you using HubSpot to run an oil company?
No, no.
Okay.
It's actually quite interesting. So when we came to Colorado, my business partner at that time tried starting his own drilling engineering consulting company
Mm-hmm.
where he had some soft verbal contracts but no money, right? So
Mm-hmm.
he shut that down. And then in that process, he discovered that he liked marketing and the data more than engineering. So he
Okay.
decided to make that pivot over into marketing. Um, and then like in the first year or two, we were doing really general marketing stuff, and we really, that wasn't our strength, right? And so we figured out our strength was in people, process, and data, and that was in HubSpot, and
Wow.
having a system
The
for that.
engineering consulting business was the goal, and out of that, he found out that like marketing was this thing, and that's when you started using HubSpot to do that marketing.
hmm And then we started using HubSpot, and then we started using HubSpot for our clients, and it just kind of snowballed from there. I mean, it's not. I mean, I wouldn't say client acquisition has been super easy, right? But it's not the hardest thing that you can do, right?
Mm-hmm.
We've done some crazy things with Salesforce and HubSpot together with some of our clients. We've really had some good case studies and enjoyed. But I think the most important part is really enjoyed the work, right?
Yeah.
I think there was like a survey, I forgot from which source, uh, but I'm currently reading Gabor Mate's book on the myth of normal, and he in it he talks about that, like people who are truly engaged at their jobs, according to some workforce surveys, is really like somewhere between 10 and 15%. Like people are not really enjoying it, right? So like the fact that like we get to enjoy our jobs, I think is a real
Yeah.
privilege to have.
Nice. Quite interesting the transition there. All right, so you've given us the now and the then.
hmm
Talk to us about some milestones. It started with an agency, it sounds like. So, how over the years, or just over the time, how have you progressed milestone wise? What were some things you did that when you look back, you're like, that was a new thing we finally did.
I guess the milestones, like there's different tiering on the HubSpot partners. We tiered to become a gold partner, I think, in 2020 or 2021. And I think it was in March of
Congrats.
2021. Then we went to platinum this year, and it's just been kind of growing. But I feel like the journey is really about figuring out who you are as a person and figuring out who you are as a company, right? Like
And differentiating the two, or
and
figuring it out. Period.
I think it's well, obviously who you are is not the company, right? But like
Mm-hmm.
learning to value your skill set, right? Because what we do is like it's like engineering, right? It's not the easiest stuff, um, and to be compensated for it as well is amazing. But I'm just saying, like, I would say we learned that we're a good marketing technology company. That's what we're really good at. We do revenue operations really well. We make sure we integrate all the HubSpot hubs. If we need to, we talk with Salesforce. Um, but it's really about differentiating who you are as a company, right? How are you different than all the other HubSpot agency partners? And we like to do hard things. We
Right.
take companies from chaos to calm, right? We clean up data. We literally clean up data that's like
You take.
scary as crap, and then
Mm-hmm.
you know, and then suddenly you discover that things become sendable when you don't have friend as the first name field in like 20,000 records. You know, like
Right.
yeah. So you see like what becomes possible through, first data cleanup, doing the basics, discovering voice, and then doing lead scoring, and then doing email marketing, and all these. Bless you.
Excuse me.
All these things build upon each other, right? And it's just like taking it layer by layer and step by step.
Islin, I love that. Taking chaos to clarity.
Yep, chaos to
So
calm.
much sense. You do have all these. There's this sense that when you're running business, you're putting things out and you're doing things and you're putting out fires, and it creates kind of this chaos sometimes that businesses feel because they show up every day and they run their business. So if you can say, look, we're going to take you from that chaos to clarity, and you're still going to show up every day, but what you're showing up to is a clear process and a clear vision of what you're doing, that feels really nice. Well done.
Thank you. Yeah, that's what we do as a company. And I think to achieve that, right, is not to eat the elephant all at once. There's like this, I don't know if you've seen Creed, but it's like, one step at a time, one punch at a time, one round at a time, right? So you kind of just take it one day at a time, and you just get there, right? And
Right.
just keep on taking action, right? You might not have the exact right answer.
Yeah.
Right? You might not have the answer, but you have an answer, which is good enough to start something. And then you can start iterating and figure out where the boundaries are. And so that's what you go.
I'm hearing you talk about your milestones as the partner, and then as you leveled up on the partner track with HubSpot. I'm also hearing you talk about this distinction between what the business is doing and defining and you understanding what the business is doing. Then there's also this personal side that you're talking about, where there's the distinction between the two. What's been some of your personal growths as the business has grown?
Well, I mean, I've done a lot of therapy, man. A lot of therapy.
Whatever you want to share, of course. But for those of us who are growing and showing up, and the business is growing, we all understand that we're going to have to play a role in that business. How do we best show up? Are we great at organizing people? Are we great at completing tasks? Do we lead from the front? What are some of those you can generally speak to, of the roles you've kind of played as the business has grown?
Yeah, I mean, I would say, like, I think going back to the therapy part, resolving trauma, which shows up in all sorts of relationships, really helps build a healthy company where you have healthy relationships with your employees, and you're not, reenacting poor parental relationships, to put it frankly. And so you're not doing what a lot of therapists call trauma repetition compulsion, and you're trying to enter the same situation over and over again, trying to fix the same things. But if you don't fix yourself, the same things continue to happen, right? So you have to fix yourself first, take care, put the face mask on yourself first before going out. And so, like, I think that's been helpful, in kind of having better, healthy relationships with my business partner and employees, and just understanding expectations, and like having really clear expectations of what we expect from people, and that type of thing. Like in our journey, we've hired some great people. We've fired, people who oversold themselves. We've I mean, like, some of our shortfalls, like, for example, my business partner and I, we suck at accounting and doing ARAP. And that's really key to having a business, right? Is making sure you're getting accounts receivable on time, and you're making sure you pay your bills on time too. So
I thought we could make payroll, but there's nothing in the account.
I know, it's like, oh. But I mean, like, that's when we realized we had to hire an accounting specialist, right?
Mm-hmm.
And even though we are a small team, like if that's not a core competency you have, like you've got to hire for it. And even
Right.
though we're really good at HubSpot, we're really sucking at AR, right? So
Yeah.
so I mean, like that's when you need to hire. And like, yeah, it would be great to have that extra, I don't know, $2,000 a month, like in your pocket, but you don't have the $2,000 or however much you're paying the part-time, accounting specialist because you don't have the money. So I mean, it's really acknowledging, your weaknesses, and your weaknesses become very apparent as you run a business. Yeah.
Well done in clarifying. Again, back to what you said, creating clarity out of chaos. I mean, even in your answers, it's very clear to me, Islin, and those of you listening right now, that what they have going on is growth on the business side, which means you have to have growth on the personal side. And what happens is you can't grow until you deal with the things in front of you, and oftentimes the thing in front of you are the things that are actually holding you back.
Yeah, and oftentimes, like, you're not aware of what's holding you back until you get there, and it's
You
really
get there, right?
yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it's just really interesting, and like I guess in the business growth and personal growth is that like once you become more self-aware, then you're able to like kind of climb that ladder of consciousness. David Hawkins, he has many books, but like some of his books, he's like I think in both the books I read by him, there's different states of consciousness.
Mm-hmm.
And you could be like super low, like at the level of shame, and he puts numbers to them, or you could be starting at the level of courage, which is at like a level of 200, and that's when you're able to feel safe inside, and you're
Mm-hmm.
able to like respond to feedback, right? So that like feedback doesn't obliterate you, but you can grow personally, and then you climb higher and higher, like to love and peace, and if you ever get there, like enlightenment, right? But
Right.
you need to be at a minimum level of like 200 to be able to grow yourself as a person. Like
Interesting.
that's what I
Is there a
learned.
book people can learn more about this process?
Yeah, let me open up. I'm like, let me open up my phone.
Let's look it
Got
up.
Libby on here, but it's by let me go to the
Yeah,
right
what's his
library.
name? Is David?
David Hawkins.
David Hawkins. This has been an interesting, while you're looking that up, conversation about milestones along the way, from what it is you're doing in business and then how you're showing up as a human inside that business. And whether you're a leader, if you're listening and you're a leader in the business, or whether you're an employee or a manager, you're going to be showing up some way. But
Yeah,
I'm hearing
exactly. How you
dealing with
so
and recognizing how you're showing up is really key.
yeah, like you can't, like when I was working in the oil field, I was like the greatest doer. Like I could do a lot of things in engineering, like reservoir engineering, but like I had really horrible relationships with my boss. And like that was kind of like re-traumatizing me in a way of like kind of, you know, reenacting some of the really bad relationship dynamics I had with my mom,
Yeah.
right? So
Yeah.
that was not good, right? But like if you don't fix yourself, right, then you continue to have those traumatic experiences kind of wherever you go, whether you like go to a great company or like go to a startup, or like you continue to attract that same experience until you can finally, fix it through therapy or EMDR or whatever it is that you can finally let go.
Understood.
So David Hawkins, he has lots of books. Letting Go is a book, and then if you want to learn more about the different levels, there's the Map of Consciousness Explained.
Map of Consciousness Explained. And what was the
Yep.
first one?
And then Letting Go.
And Letting Go. Awesome. We'll look for those and tag them in the notes.
Awesome.
All right, so that was a trip down milestone lane, and I love that you pointed out that there's the business side and there's a personal side, and whether you're recognizing or not that they're attached, they're attached.
Yes.
So figure that out. On that human side, then, walk us back through the timeline from starting the to now. Who are some of the other people now along the way that have impacted, or for you even just been kind of there or had an impact on you?
Yeah, definitely. I would say that first and foremost, there is my business partner, Lucas Munisteri, business and life partner. Like he can really think his way through any problem and push the boundaries of any system. Like he is quite dynamic in that way, and he helps overcome limitations every day of certain systems. It's like, we don't need to build a workflow this way, we can go try it this way. We don't always have to use this one thing, we can do another.
Right.
And
that's something that feeds you, that complements you, Lucas.
Yeah, Lucas's technical strategy strengths. Like he's so good at that. Systems architecting. He's so good at that. And then I would say, outside of the business family system, there's always our employees. They help build the company, right? They keep things running every day. And then I would say, I guess there's Ryan Milligan at QuotaPath. I had him on my RevOps Careers podcast, and he also stepped in pretty last minute for a Women in Revenue HubSpot user group event I ran. And he was just able to speak so eloquently about RevOps, and I learned quite a bit during his session, which was great. And then I'm trying to think. And then there's also people that are outside of the RevOps space that I follow as well. Right, Ryan Zadradil, he's helped. He's had like a friend in the mental health space I met. There's lots of different people, and I would say that it's not there. These people aren't necessarily constants in your life, right? Sometimes there's people that come in at a certain point in your life when you're ready for them, right? And then they enter stage right, and then they exit stage left, and then like like after like a month or two of like really intense work, right? Then they leave or something like that. I've had I've had good therapists throughout the years as well that have helped impact me as well. And I want to call out to Sounder Mind. Like Sounder Mind matches you up with a therapist that your insurance accepts. So that's kind of where I found my most recent therapist. So it's just really these key people in your life. Like I guess you have to realize the impermanence of them, which is really hard, since my dad is currently in the hospital, right? And that really makes you realize, like, oh, people don't stick around forever. They come in and then when it's their time, they go out, whether it's a layoff or they decide to go start another company or they leave, right? People are not permanent, and it's a hard fact of life.
Tough lesson. Understood. I love this idea. I know we were talking a little bit beforehand, but that idea that people can come in and have a big impact, but they don't have to stick around. That's not the point. The impact is where it comes from, that it meant something to you, or they delivered something to you in a way that just struck you in a new light. And that's fine. That's enough. That's all it needs to be. I think that was pretty insightful. Thanks for sharing that with us.
Yeah, you're welcome. Sometimes it just takes one conversation with like a key person to pivot something key in your life. Or sometimes it takes like an ongoing relationship with like a therapist or someone to make those little changes in your life to see a big change. Right. But it always, it's just, you just kind of make certain steps to keep on changing and keep on growing as a person.
Right. Keep on. All right. So to our last question here. Speaking of keeping on, think 10 years in the future, 2032.
Okay.
Islin 2032. What is she doing? And if she's in front of you today, what is she saying to you? What is she telling you has happened, or giving you advice on, or congratulating you on doing right now that helped her? What's the conversation like? Walk us through it.
I don't know. I would say we'd be living in Boston. We're living in Colorado right now, so I want to say we'd be living in Boston. At least I hope both of my kids would either be in college or graduated from college. Or they're be in college, getting to college, something around college.
College.
College is happening. And I would probably tell myself that the self-loathing, the self-pity, all of those things that you struggled with from those early childhood, wounding, is not. You can let all that shit go. Just let it go. Like it's a hard thing to let go, right? Those early childhood memories and its meaning and the feeling behind it, right? But once you can let that go, you can be free to make your own decisions and not be, how do I say it, influenced by previous past decisions and that type of thing. I think there was
Understood.
There's a great newsletter out there on category design.
On
category design. It's like they're the pirates of category design. I think it's Chris Locke and a couple of other folks do it. But the category pirates, that's what they call it. But it's really, he had an interesting newsletter in there that Harvard Business School, all these books and stuff are talking about what worked yesterday, right? These case studies, all these case studies that you do in business school is what worked yesterday. Category design is about what works tomorrow and today. And you're trying to create new categories, new ways of thinking around your product, which is what will create market share and dominate market share. And so that's why like I try to tell people, don't let your past dictate your future, right?
Right.
Like, don't let your past dictate your future, because if you let your past dictate your future, you're going to continue to do the same stuff that you did last year.
Gotcha. So Islin 2032 is going to be really happy that Islin 2022 has this mindset that if you continue your past, then your past is now your future. So Start living your future.
Exactly. Start living your future. Let go of the past. Be who you really are. Find in the myth of normal, he talks about attachment versus authenticity. And there's often we subvert who we truly are as people to be attached to our caregivers. And it's like, and so it's like, you gotta be authentic to who you are, whoever that is. And I'm still discovering who I am, right? But you've got to live true to who you are. and like not have those attachment wounds anymore. Like, right, just live true to who you are. Like, let go of the parental stuff and keep on moving forward.
Keep on keeping on.
Keep on keeping on. Yep.
All right, Islin, thanks so much. Will you share with us the best place to find you?
Sure. I will probably get seriously spammed by text, but the best place to find me, probably text me at 907-406-4300. If you seriously, just text me.
All right.
And or can go to our website, fiastrategies.com, and book a discovery meeting. So there's the unconventional way and the conventional way. Or if you really are creepy, you can find me on LinkedIn too. So
received. Phone number, LinkedIn, or phone number, website, or LinkedIn.
Yes.
Islin, thanks so much for sharing your story with us.
Thank you, Grant. It's been great.
And Sprocketeers, thanks for listening. Spinny, spinny.
Keep on spinning.
Keep on spinning.
Keep on spinning.